up, everybody? It's your favorite Jedi Master who is what they grow beyond and knows that is the true burden of all masters, aka Force Ghost Yoda from The Last Jedi. I believe this is a Walmart exclusive Black Series figure. Luckily, my buddy Chris Pinkerton, If You're Nasty, co-host of Nerd Rage Radio, bumped into one and secured it for me. I still had to pay him back. That's more of a note to myself than it is information for you. This shouldn't be much of a review, kind of down and dirty. Not a whole lot new here other than deco, but we are going to take a look at it because we're going to try to cover all the Black Series, but in order to do so, we got to start with accessories. He comes with this signature cane. It's done in a kind of purple metallic, and like, you know, it's funny. It's like one of those things that looks goofy on its own, but with him, it kind of works, you know, honestly, like with the whole ensemble. But by itself, I wouldn't ever consider it to, you know. And he can hold that just fine. He also technically comes with this necklace as an accessory as well, but we're just going to consider it part of the figure today because I don't want to pop his head off to take it off. But it is like a purplish kind of metallic deco, and I think it honestly, it's a little distracting if you have it out and about. So it came packaged tucked into his robes, and I'm just going to place it back there. And let's talk about the figure. So the head is, I believe, on a ball peg. What is it? It's tight. There, I finally broke it free. Be careful because you could break that stem. You can get down to there. Nothing really up, and a swivel. It has this like metallic blue almost that shows up on the green. It's really quite well done. Like it's a nice job. I don't know how they did it or what the method is to that, honestly, but it works. I think it's ultimately effective. For the soft good, it's like one of those little sparkly kind of capes, like they used to use them, I feel like, with She-Ra, Princess of Power and stuff like that. But underneath that is the purple metallic tunic and stuff, and the two of them working kind of in concert, I think is kind of effective, honestly. The hair is all sculpted well. It does have the digital paint, the realistic photoreal paint applied to it, and it's done well. We have the shoulder disc hinges, which are limited a bit by the soft goods, but you can get it up to 90 degrees. You just got to work it out. And around. No bicep swivel, but you do get a single hinged elbow. Or no, it's a double hinged elbow because this is back when Black Series used to do double hinged elbows, which is quite nice. And then you have a wrist swivel and I don't think a hinge. But you can see it's like a translucent plastic that goes into like this metallic-y blue into the purple. It's hard to describe, but I think it works. You know, I don't know. This stuff is super gimmicky, right? And, you know, unless you really want a representation of this figure, there's nothing about this that's any better than the kind of standard version that everybody kind of would want. But it's hard to kind of describe exactly how they do it, but I think it is relatively ingenious, you know, because it's just like this odd combination of things that when they're all put together kind of sell it. So you have this metallic purple paint or belt with the tassels and stuff, all the soft plastic. The articulation's the same on the other side. Moving on up, underneath the outer robes, you have the inner robes, which are done in a kind of burgundy kind of color with the metallic flecked, sort of sparkly soft goods. And so when you see those two together, it also helps sell it. And then it doesn't look as goofy when you have this kind of ultra translucent lower legs, because this doesn't fade the same way that the arm does. This is kind of one piece from the thigh swivel down, and then the upper piece kind of fades. So it works together, but it sells it even more with the two layers of soft goods. Once again, just small choices that end up having a decent impact. We have T-jointed ball joints for hips. They get you out to there, forward and back to there. And then a thigh swivel, and no knees, but you do get ankle tilts down, up, and no rocker. So that's kind of a bummer. And the feet are kind of the translucent variety as well. So once again, I don't think that this figure is anything special in and of himself. It's kind of an interesting take on how to do this sort of effect, which I do appreciate. But really, I think that, you know, this type of figure really comes down to where you have him and how you have him displayed. So let's do some size comparisons. And size comparison-wise, there he is with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I guess it could be Yoda from Return of the Jedi as well, whichever suits your fancy. But they look good together. And there he is next to the Archive Edition Yoda, just so you can see him side by side, really. The difference in soft goods does make a difference, though, as you can tell. And there he is in my Octu display.
You know, I kind of have him and Luke down there, and then Chewie and R2, Kylo and Rey, and then Luke and Rey, and it's kind of like all the significant scenes and characters on the Octu, you know, kind of field, and then the Porgs and the Steps. Like, I don't know. I'm really happy with that. It's very gratifying for me.
Final thoughts wise, look, it's kind of, there's nothing independent about this that makes this any better or worse, you know, than what you would expect it to be, honestly. And I debated on whether or not to even do the review because I don't know if there's much to talk about outside of the kind of smart moves that they made in regards to the deco. But those moves are smart, and I think that ultimately they are worth talking about, which is why we did them. But ultimately, you know, it all comes down to where you're going to have this display and if you have an appropriate place for him to be displayed. The articulation is good with the exception of no knees. That's a problem that the original mold had and will continue to have as long as they reuse it. If you need knees, you're gonna have to get the Figuarts, or maybe the model kit, but I would probably get the Figuarts. There's also no ankle rocker, so he's pretty much gonna be stuck standing there. The only bummer about this in that regard with those articulation points is that you can't have him sitting down, which is kind of a big part of The Last Jedi, which is where he's gonna be displayed in my collection. But all in all, I'm appreciative of his presence in that display for The Last Jedi, so I am happy with my purchase. If you have something similar in your collection, I can recommend it. Otherwise, you're probably good enough to just skip it. It's kind of a very display dependent piece, and I know I've said that a million times and I probably feel like a broken record or sound like one at least, but it doesn't change the fact that that's how I feel. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, until next time, take care.